Ёбаный в рот.
Пиздец.
Ёбаный в рот. Ёбаный в рот.
Пиздец.
Ёбаный.
Every dollar we have at our disposal will be pushed out the door between now and January 20th. Every dollar we have at our disposal will be pushed out the door between now and January 20th. Every dollar we have at our disposal will
Studies show that people that decorate their Christmas early are happier.
Oh, well, I believe that. I believe that. Big Christmas.
Hey, Ben, and just a heads up, the first Navio we started the show off with,
Yeah.
the audio is not great. You hear a lot of muffling, but we're trying to, we want to see the bass.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll take place, so just the audio.
Okay.
Do we pin this one?
Yes.
Yeah. So Isabel told you she had her first taste of the drag culture.
Oh, no, she didn't tell me about that
Oh,
part.
yeah,
She left that part out.
It was the brunch drag bar.
She said brunch. She didn't tell me about the drag part.
It was a good show.
I don't really remember. Oh, my gosh. That's hilarious. Outed. Oh. We were regular. U.S.-made missile strikes Russian soil just days after Joe Biden promised a peaceful transition of power. But this is not peace. Who is working to push? U.S.-made missile strikes Russian soil just days after President Joe Biden promises a peaceful transition of power. But this is not peace. Who is working to push the U.S. into a hot war with Russia before Trump even takes office?
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I can. Hey, Victor, how are you? Likewise. Sounds good. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Roger Stone. How are you, sir?
Great. How about you?
Doing great. Looking forward to talking to you. We'll get started in about 2 minutes.
All right. Sounds good.
Great. Missile strikes Russian soil just days after President Joe Biden promises a peaceful transition of power. But this is no peace. Who is working to push the U.S. into a hot war with Russia before Trump even takes office? Sounds good. Likewise. Big Christmas, get them. U.S. That's what she was saying. You think I'm the conspiracy theorist? A U.S.-made missile strikes Russian soil just days after President Joe Biden promises a peaceful transition of power. But this is no peace. Who is working to start a hot war with Russia just days before President-elect Donald Trump is set to take office? I'm Ben Swan. This is Truth in Media.
Ёбаный в рот.
Пиздец.
Ёбаный в рот.
Well, you just watched their history in the making. Ukrainian forces firing a U.S.-made ATACMS missile striking Russian soil. Let's just roll that back and start that again, guys. I'll just pick it up from there. Here we go. In 3, 2. You just watched history in the making as Ukrainian forces firing a U.S.-made ATACMS missile striking Russian soil. That escalation comes barely 48 hours after President Joe Biden greenlit the use of these missiles for strikes on Russian sovereign territory. The timing could not be more explosive. Donald Trump, fresh off a landslide election victory, pledged to end the war. He's already had phone calls with both President Zelensky and Putin, seemingly pushing us closer to peace. Ukrainian President Zelensky stated publicly just days ago that the war would end under the new Trump administration. So why this sudden provocation? Biden promised Donald Trump that he would see a peaceful transition of power. And yet, it feels like what's happening now is exactly the opposite, and a ramp up to possibly World War III.
Every dollar we have at our disposal will be pushed out the door between now and January 20th.
Now, more than ever, it feels like an all-out nuclear war is on the horizon if things do not change, and change very quickly. Especially after you consider this, that Vladimir Putin approved a new nuclear doctrine, which now lowers the threshold for a nuclear strike by Russia, meaning Russia could now respond with nuclear force to conventional attacks like these. Let's be honest here. This move by the administration reeks of sabotage. And let's also be clear about this. Joe Biden is not behind it because Biden doesn't even know where he is on any given day. It's deep state puppeteers who are pulling the strings as they enrich defense contractors while also pushing us to an all-out war. So who is actually giving Ukraine the green light to fire these missiles into Russia? This is the ultimate example of unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats making reckless decisions with the lives of millions. And joining me now to discuss is the man, the myth, and the legend, Roger Stone. Roger, thanks for being here.
Great to be here.
So first of all, I want to get your reaction to the White House's decision just, as I said, 48 hours ago to greenlight these recent strikes. We know with these ATACMS missiles that not only are they U.S. made, but they have to have U.S. operators to be fired. What say you?
Well, you know, Dwight Eisenhower warned us about this. He called it the military-industrial complex. Today we call it the deep state. It's an amalgamation of unelected bureaucrats deep within the bureaucracy of our government, defense contractors, and those in the think tanks. A war, as you know, is extraordinarily profitable for some. The American people have rejected the war mania of the current administration. They have 60-plus days in office. They are intent on trying to ship as many dollars to Ukraine as possible. And now, very clearly, we are edging closer and closer to World War III. You're right, Joe Biden's not making these decisions, but who is? Well, Antony Blinken, our Secretary of State, is the one carrying them out, but he answers to others. I mean, we have a powerful elite in this country who are committed to war, despite the fact the American people spoke overwhelmingly in the most recent election for peace. I don't think we've ever been closer to World War III than we are in this second. I had General Flynn on my own show yesterday. He makes a pretty good case that neither the Ukrainians nor the Russians want World War III. They're being pushed towards it by our State Department. The fact that we don't even have ongoing negotiations, there's no talks going on. Both sides, I think, would like to engage in talks, but that has been vetoed by our State Department. So yes, they're so apoplectic, they're so hysterical about their loss of power. I think they're going to try to start a world war, and I think they're going to try to crash our economy if they can do so as well, to leave Donald Trump to clean up their mess.
It is so beyond the pale to see this happening right now. Trump issued a very strong video statement about it yesterday, saying exactly what you just said, right? We've never been closer to World War III than we are at this moment. But simply the fact that you have, as you rightly said, an overwhelming response by the American people who made their voices heard in this last election, not just in terms of the Electoral College, but the popular vote. The fact that the popular vote went to a Republican for the first time in 20 years, only the second time in almost 40 years. And not only that, but simply the fact that the American people said, as a huge part of that, we want, number one, our tax dollars to stop flowing to fund these wars. And number two, we want a de-escalation. To watch the Biden administration and the people who are pulling these strings ramp us up to a level that we have not seen in the entirety of this 3-year war is truly staggering. Again, knowing there's only 60 days, a lot can happen in those 60 days and have not only incredible consequences, but consequences we can't necessarily walk back.
Well, the good news is, of course, is you now see Donald Trump at his best. I mean, he ran as the peace candidate, and he is, after all, a deal maker. That's what he does. He came from the world of business, not the world of politics. So, in order to avert World War III and more killing and more death, he's reached out to both President Zelensky and to Vladimir Putin, and has called both of them to meet with them, to hit with him, to see if we can't resolve this immediately. I think most people understand that he can resolve this war, and he can reverse the policies of this administration in the Middle East, where we handed $190 billion to the rogue regime in Iran, as if we didn't know they were going to use that to finance terrorism and to restart their nuclear weapons development program. If we return to the sanctions, the very harsh sanctions that Trump had on Iran, we had them on the verge of bankruptcy. Even their Chinese patrons would not buy oil from them. The sanctions were so rough. But when you give them $190 billion in unfrozen assets, what do you expect but an attack on Israel? In both of these regions, Donald Trump can bring peace. I think he can do it pretty quickly, but this administration seems intent on doing as much damage as they possibly can until he gets there.
Last question for you. What do you think happens over the next couple of days? I mean, obviously, this is a huge provocation to see again. These are U.S.-made, U.S.-supplied missiles likely being fired by a U.S. military of some kind into Russia. Does Trump get back on the phone with Putin? Does he get back on the phone with Zelensky? Does he have to now step in when you have Biden, who, again, is completely feckless? He has been for a long time. But not only that, he's completely lost. He's not running the country. He's certainly not running whatever's happening in terms of the military. Does Trump step in at this point and try to negotiate an end now before he even takes office?
I think that by asking them both to meet with him, that's exactly what he's doing. He's talking to both of them in the hopes that he can ratchet down the pressures. But look, let's recognize that Putin has his own political pressures at home. And if Russia is attacked, he's going to have no choice but to respond. Now we're off into a conflagration. He's made it very clear with the change in his own policy that if his country is attacked by a non-NATO nation, but using NATO weapons supplied by the United States, that he's going to retaliate. But we are this close. I have huge confidence in the president, however, to lessen the tensions, bring these leaders together, and forge a peace. If he has to do it before he's sworn in as president, I think he will do that. He's clearly trying to do it even as we speak.
Roger Stone, thanks so much for your time and your insight.
Great to be here. Thank you.
And that is our show for today. You can catch all of our latest coverage. Check us out on X at @truth_in_media, and you can watch all of our full episodes right now at truthinmedia.com. Yes. Yeah. This is for the beginning part of it, right? Are we going to roll all the way through up to the interview? Yep, let's do it. Round two. Do it again. Yep. Not with the interview. Well, let's do it from the very top. Yep. There's just like some stumbles in it. So we're just cleaning it up. U.S. made missile. Attack MS. Thank you. Yes. A U.S.-made missile strikes Russian soil just days after President Joe Biden promised a peaceful transition of power. But this is no peace. So who exactly is pushing the U.S. possibly into a hot war with Russia before the Trump administration even takes office? I'm Ben Swan. This is Truth in Media.
Пиздец.
Incredible video there. You just watched history in the making. Ukrainian forces firing a U.S.-made Attack MS missile striking Russian soil. This escalation comes barely 48 hours after President Joe Biden greenlit the use of these missiles for strikes on Russian sovereign territory. And the timing, it could not be more explosive. Donald Trump, fresh off of a landslide election victory, pledged to end the war. He's already had phone calls with both President Zelensky and Putin in the past, seemingly pushing us closer to peace. Ukrainian President Zelensky stated publicly just days ago that the war would end under this new administration. So why the provocation? Biden promised Donald Trump that there would be a peaceful transition of power. And yet,
every dollar we have at our disposal will be pushed out the door between now and January 20th.
it feels like more than ever right now, we are looking at an all-out nuclear war on the horizon, at least if things don't change very soon. In fact, get this. Russian President Vladimir Putin, he has actually approved a new nuclear doctrine, which now lowers the threshold for a nuclear strike, meaning Russia could now respond with nuclear force to conventional attacks like the one we just showed you video of. And let's be honest here, this move by the administration, it reeks of sabotage. Let's also be clear about this. Joe Biden is not behind it. Biden doesn't even know where he is on any given day. Deep state puppeteers, they are pulling the strings. They are enriching defense contractors while pushing us to an all-out war. So who is? Who is actually giving Ukraine the green light to fire these missiles into Russia? This is the ultimate example of unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats making reckless decisions with the lives of millions. Does that work? All right. Cool. Yeah, you can do that.
Short, sir?
Shorts. Not yet. I'll keep it for this first one. How you doing? What's that?
Last night at dinner thing, she was like, I think Ukraine's firing missiles, and I was like, I don't think they're that dumb. I don't think they're
It's insane. It's totally insane.
Confident.
Yeah. Yeah. Like somebody's making a whole bunch of decisions from the shadows.
Get me to cook it.
I know. Good. Okay? So I'm gonna keep 2 here. Good. Good, good, good. I'm like Peyton after a festival. Oh, is Louis? What are the pronouncers for these names? There's like 2 names in here that need pronouncers. That also has an impact. Has an impact.
Under the right circumstances, I want to be invited, and I want to be invited by very particular people.
Zoom out a tiny bit, Rob. No, that's good.
I like the look of the people that go.
I'll tell you what, I know a couple of people that the first time they went, they completely changed. Like
They turned weird?
weird, like
Or you just finally saw them for what they always were?
maybe, who knows? But ask Bernie about one. We were shooting a commercial on PCH, right?
Yeah.
And this producer that I knew in LA, like, she was like business, dude. Like
Yeah.
everybody was scared of this chick, right? And she shows up after Burning Man in a bathing suit. There's like 45 people in this crew on the side of the road.
Yeah.
She gets out. Give me a hug. Then she goes to hug Fernie, and she's like, wait. It has to be heart to heart because they were gonna hug like this.
Wow.
Some people don't come back.
Like, and that was after Burning Man.
Taking all that crazy stuff.
Ego death. People don't believe in them. They are real. And you should not come back to them. They're very, very.
What are you saying? Eco death?
Death. I found only one.
Okay. Marcia. Marcia. Let's scroll through it and then just see what it says. Marcia. Bucks County, it says. Bucks County. Hello. I'm going to read through it real fast. Local officials in Bucks County, Pennsylvania may have made a huge mistake. That's Democratic Commissioner Diane Ellis Marcia. Diane Ellis Marcia, openly defying a court order not to count illegally misstated ballots. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued the order after an automatic recount began in the state's highly contested Senate race. Now it's come out that the commissioner actually gave campaign contributions to Bob Casey, the Democratic candidate for senator in Pennsylvania. Well, in keeping with the tone set since the election, President-elect Trump's campaign manager, Chris, what is this one? LaCivita? Chris LaCivita, I'm guessing, LaCivita, is taking an aggressive approach, promising to send the Bucks County commissioner to jail once Trump takes office. It's a stern message. Okay. All right, let's try it. Throw him in jail. It's not you can just, like, he's not a king. You can't just be like, you're off to prison with you. It doesn't really work that way, but okay. Whatever. Uh-huh. Yeah, I've seen that one. Yes, that's exactly what it's like. LaCivita, okay. Chris LaCivita. LaCivita. stern message to those who have meddled in or plan to meddle in future elections. Okay, whenever you guys are ready. Yep. In 3, 2, well, local officials in Bucks County, Pennsylvania may have made a huge mistake. That's Democratic Commissioner Diane Ellis Marsiglia. Let's do it again. 3, 2. That's Democratic Commissioner Diane Ellis Marsiglia openly defying a court order. Try it again. 3, 2. That's Democratic Commissioner Diane Ellis Marsiglia openly defying a court order not to count illegally misstated ballots. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued the order after an automatic recount began in the state's highly contested Senate race.
Never have it on, turn it on only so I can open the garage door. Now I know.
Okay, let's just do that part again just in case it came out. Here we go. 3, 2. That is Democratic Commissioner Diane Ellis Marsiglia openly defying a court order not to count illegally misstated ballots. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued that order after an automatic recount began in the state's highly contested Senate race. Well, now it's come out that the commissioner actually gave campaign contributions to Bob Casey, the Democratic candidate for senator in Pennsylvania. Well, in keeping with the tone set since the election, President-elect Trump's campaign manager, Chris LaCivita, is taking an aggressive approach, promising to send the Bucks County commissioner to jail once Trump takes office. It is a stern message to those who have meddled or plan to meddle in future elections. The age of illegal counting ballots, of counting illegal. Let's do it again, right here. 3, 2. It is a stern message to those who have meddled or plan to meddle in future elections. The age of counting illegal ballots in the shadows is over. Let me do that last line again one more time before you stop it. I saw I was leaning pretty far this way. Go back to that and let's use that last part again. I was leaning too far. Jump to the end. Yeah. 3, 2. It is a stern message to those who have meddled or plan to meddle in future elections. The age of counting illegal ballots in the shadows is over. Okay. That'll work. Where's Jeff?
Hey, Fern, I was telling, we were talking about Burning Man, and I was telling Ben about Heart to Heart. What you're describing